Welcome back, everyone, to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and today we're going to be talking about Celsius Network. And I haven't talked about them before, but it's one I've watched closely for a year and a half now. I did buy some probably late in the cycle, a lot later than I would have liked to. But there's reasons we always make mistakes, and I'll share with you why I made that mistake. And I'll share with you why I'm watching it closely and what I'm looking for. So with that, let's get this rolling. Join me, Rainmakers. Great. Thanks for joining me, each of you. I want to thank you for all the channel growth that is thanks to all of you. And I want to thank those loyal followers that I call the Rainmakers, because you guys really helping me keep this channel going, and your support means a lot. If you've noticed, I put a lot more time in these videos. I used to make real estate videos, and I've dedicated that time to you guys because your support has been awesome. And so I keep myself very busy between, I still do real estate investment, but keep myself busy in the meantime researching so I can try to make the best videos I can. But my channel is still only like 7 weeks old as far as producing this content, so it seems like a lot of subscribers in that time, and that is thanks to each of you who have subscribed, so thank you. Without further ado, let's get into Celsius Network, and if it's okay with you, I'm going to chart some things out, and I'm going to share with you my thoughts on this. Now, would you agree with me in general that timing isn't just important, but it's one of the most important things? So if you bought Bitcoin right in December 2017, would it fair to say that though Bitcoin's a great asset, that might have been terrible timing? One of the reasons I haven't talked about Celsius Network is I like it a lot, even for my own portfolio, and I hold a bunch of Celsius Network. But timing is everything. And I'll show you exactly why I haven't been talking about it too much. And this is why. Because it tends to run with Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin tends to peak also, it tends to peak. And it doesn't run so much with altcoins. And there's a reason for that. But when I first saw Celsius Network, I saw the owner, Alex Mashinsky, come on some AMAs. And I listened to that guy and I was like, I like him. Seems like a complete straight shooter, seems like a hard worker, and he's definitely got a track record that is amazing. So if you've ever used your phone to call somebody, and you used voice over IP, well, Alex Mashinsky is the one that helped bring voice over IP to bear. And so it is his fault that he bankrupted all those big telecoms that used to charge you 30 cents a minute to call. Like if you were in the US in-state, I remember my mom calling people and paying 30 cents a minute to talk to her sister. If you were calling international, I remember I was in Montreal, Canada, and I was calling somebody in the US, and it was charging like $3 a minute or something ridiculous. Well, these are all pre-voice over IP days. Now, it didn't necessarily put the telecoms out of business, but they couldn't charge those huge rates anymore, because all of a sudden they had to compete with 8 cents a minute long distance, which then the price went further down and further down and further down. And now pretty much you can find ways to call people across the world for free, thanks to voice over IP, and Alex Mashinsky had one of the biggest hands in making that happen. Same guy then got hired by the city of New York, and you want to talk about a city with more bureaucracy than probably any city in the world, and he helped get Wi-Fi to work in the subways in New York. So if you've ever been in the subways of New York and used your phone and gotten data while you were in there, you have been, once again, touched by Alex Mashinsky's work. Did you know a guy this smart has been involved in cryptocurrency now for at least a couple years? I think he's been investing in it longer. But he decided, after disrupting the telecom industry tremendously, that he would start another venture to really revolutionize the banking industry. Enter Celsius Network. Now, I always like to find the website of things I'm looking at by first coming to Coingecko or CoinMarketCap, and then I click on their website here, so that I don't Google it and get some scam ad that's not really their website. All right, so their website is celsius.network, and it's the modern way to manage assets, earn rewards on all held coins, borrow cash while keeping your assets, pay and transfer with the tap of an app. Now, it is an app on your phone. They don't have a computer version yet, but we're going to be looking on the computer because we're going to cover some things. And this is the guy, Alex Mashinsky, nickname The Machine, because I think he's one of those guys that only needs to sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night and just has more time in the day. This guy works super hard, and you see that. Now, if you thought Charles Hoskinson was accessible by coming on doing his frequent YouTube videos, it's because he is accessible that way, more so than most people. But Alex Mashinsky also has that. You're probably already familiar with him, but if you're not, all you have to do is go to YouTube and Google Alex Mashinsky, and you'll find one of the platforms that he's on is their own platform they've created. And they do like an AMA every week. And this guy puts out a ton of information as to what's going on in Celsius. So it's not that I don't like it as to why I haven't been talking about it. I just, for many reasons, thought the timing might not be best. So after Bitcoin made some really big runs, it then started trading sideways. And guess what then took off? Regular altcoins. I would put Celsius not in the regular altcoins category. And so regular altcoins took off, especially anything related to DeFi. And you think, J. Murph, aren't they related to DeFi? Yes, but because of the tokenomics, they tend to run more along the lines of with Bitcoin rather than stuff DeFi. And they're not truly DeFi. They're kind of like centralized finance. Because what they do is they take what you deposit with them and they earn rewards on those. So they take this and they lend it out to institutions like Binance, and there's a whole list of institutions that borrow from them. Now they borrow from them, but they also secure what they borrow with their assets. So they don't have your assets at a ton of risk. It's fairly low risk the way they set it up as far as not getting those back from places like Binance and some of the other centralized institutions that borrow from them. And in return, they pay 80% back out the door. So this is a company that doesn't spend a lot in marketing. They keep their overhead lean and low because their whole profit margins is only that 20% of their gross revenue. The 80% they pay back out the door to those of us who are staking on them. So this is a great place where many people have their US dollar tether, say they just want to be sitting in USD, 13.3% APY right now, which is phenomenal. And this is something I'm looking at really closely for what I think is near the end of the bull run, that I might just cash out to US dollars and then just set it in a platform, or maybe even a couple platforms like Celsius and maybe BlockFi as well, and earn really good interest rates on that while I wait for Bitcoin and some of the other altcoins that I'm really interested in to come back down to reality again, because I think they'll get far, far above reality, and that their price will then retrace to far below probably what they should, and that's when I'm going to make a lot of great buys again. So I was able to do really well with that in 2018, 2019, and 2020. And those days will come back. We've had a lot of euphoria lately. That euphoria doesn't last for forever, though I think we'll get 1 or 2 massive euphoria spikes again this year before it then starts coming down to reality, and not a bad place to be holding some things. But I'm not talking about Celsius because of this. I will be talking about it and BlockFi and any other competitors that I think are good places, because it wouldn't be a bad idea to spread out the funds between multiple platforms and say, in case like something happened on one of them, right? So of the two in my mind right now, Celsius and BlockFi are the most stable and the most secured as far as platforms like that. But it's never a bad idea to diversify your risk when we get to that point that I hope is 6 to 12 months away. All right, so why are we talking about Celsius now? Because of what's happening in the charts. But before we get to those charts, here's what they pay on Bitcoin. This is a great place if you're just sitting on Bitcoin because you want to just hold it long term or just hold it for the time being. It's not worth it to send this in and send this out if it's for a couple of days. But if you're going to be holding just some bigger assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum and you want to earn good APY on them, this is a great place to do it. Now, if you use the link below, and I think you hold over $200 for at least a month, you and I both get some money in Bitcoin. So it says in the link below on YouTube exactly what those numbers are and how much it gives you, but it's got to be at least $200 that you have to fund your account with and hold it there for over 30 days. It's not a lot, so I mean, don't worry about it. If you don't want to use my link, that's fine too. It supports the channel and I appreciate it, but at the end of the day, I'm here to add value to you as much as I can, and I just know that the universe then pays it forward. So I do thank all of you who have been huge supporters of mine. All right, I did want to share before we move into the charting, you can borrow from them too. And here's a little bit about what that can look like. Say you've done really well this bull run and you're like, well, I think it might even double or triple from here, but I want to hedge my bets. There's two reasons people hedge their bets by borrowing against their own crypto. And say you want to take out 500,000 because you've done incredibly well. Well, it's going to need like 21 Bitcoin in collateral, at least at what Bitcoin is priced now. My guess is by that point, Bitcoin will be priced even a lot higher. And you can change this as far as loan to value, but say you want to buy 50% of it. Well, then this is what that looks like. And you do have to make a monthly payment like this. And here's the interest rate it's charging you, which is not bad at all. And considering I might borrow against my Celsius token at a certain point just to pay off my mortgage, wouldn't be a bad idea. We'll see how that works out. Now that's if you pay it in Celsius tokens, that's the interest rate it's going to give you. If you pay it in cash, it's going to charge you 9% interest. So you're better off actually just buying Celsius tokens to make your payments with, even if you wait till just before you make your payment, because it's going to be cheaper when you pay and sell. Make sense? All right, one more thing. This is some of what drives the tokenomics and why it tends to run with Bitcoin. As Bitcoin's going up, a lot of people then accumulate or roll their stuff into Bitcoin, and then they decide, I want to make interest on my Bitcoin. And they see the tokenomics behind this. They're like, wow, if 25% of my portfolio or greater is in cell tokens, then I earn 25% bonus rewards. I'm going to buy cell tokens. So they convert a bunch of their Bitcoin or their Ethereum or whatever other tokens so that they qualify for these higher tiers, platinum, gold, etc. And all of a sudden, Celsius token price goes through the roof. In fact, we see that back here. Now, I'm going to put it back to candles, and this is the reason is because that's what default you're looking at if you come here. So if you wanted to get to this place so you can look at it yourself, you go to tradingview.com, and then you're going to then put in sell USD. Right now I'm using HIT BTC, and they're calculated by TradingView, and then it will have this pop up right about here on it to get to the full featured chart, I think it's called, and it will bring you to this. And so right now I'm looking on the daily time frame, and see, this is exactly why I haven't been talking about it, because I've really been running this channel actively for 6 weeks. So that was in the middle of when it was at its high, and I don't like talking about things where I think the timing is absolutely poor. Every once in a while I'll talk about it when I don't think the timing is really good, but I'll tell you that the timing doesn't look really good, and I'll tell you what my thoughts on it are. Now, all of this is just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just the world according to Jay Murph and crypto according to Jay Murph. I'm just a crypto investor myself. Only been doing this for 4 years. I have been investing in real estate and other things for 20 years. So a lot of that experience investing, some of the principles transfer over quite well, and some of them is new to me, and especially was new to me 4 years ago. All right, so this is the pattern that's been going on. So it had some massive appreciation. Now, this is when I started buying in, was way back here, which was a great time to be buying in. It had just run up to like 42 cents, and I was like, crud, because I heard about it way back here. But I didn't know how to use Uniswap, and so I didn't know it wasn't on any platforms that I knew how to buy it, and so I didn't end up getting any until it went to 42 cents, and I was like, darn. But by then I had figured out how to use Uniswap really well. I did use Uniswap way back prior to this for something else, but I didn't really understand what was going on and just followed a tutorial video. So by here I'd figured out how to use Uniswap, and I looked for a good retracement, and I bought a lot of it between 36 to 30 cents. and it has absolutely gone incredible, peaking out right around $7, before then retracing and just trading sideways. Now it's been retracing sideways for a while, and it's near the bottom of this pattern, but we don't actually know exactly where the bottom of this pattern is, because we really only have a touch point here, and we're guessing as to the touch point on this side. And so it could actually look more like this. We started to get an indication of where the top of this pattern is, and we know currently at 450 it's a little ways away from that pattern. So to put 450 in relative terms, let's look at this market cap. It's currently at 1.7 billion. So it's not an extremely low market cap coin at all. But the reason I talk about it at all is because when Bitcoin is having a massive run, this outpaces Bitcoin by a lot. And so if Bitcoin was trading in August of 2020, let's look at it. Not that. We want to look at Bitcoin in August of 2020. All right, so roughly around $12,000, and it has 4x'd from there to 48,000, we'll say. Let's go back to Celsius in August of 2020, and it has gone from 40 cents up to 450, so it's 11x during that same time. So now at the peak, it went as way higher than that. It went 15x from that point, over 15x, but has since retraced. So we're trying to compare apples to apples as much as we can. So while Bitcoin 4x'd, they went like 15x, or even to where they're at now, 11x. So do you see why I keep an eye on Celsius? When Bitcoin's running, it's not bad to at least hold some of something like Bitcoin in this. And it's not financial advice. This is just the decisions I choose to make. And what I've made on Celsius has vastly outpaced what I make on Bitcoin during these runs. So now I'm just sharing this because it's on my radar. You've noticed this massive euphoria feeling, or at least I felt it, January 1st through now, when things have been going absolutely crazy. And now we're getting a little bit of a cool off period. And even Bitcoin might not be ready to run. I wanted to show you the Bitcoin chart today. Even though it broke out of the pattern it was trading in, it's not necessarily ready to run yet. And here is exactly why. Okay, let me zoom in here. We're quite a distance away, apparently. All right, so Bitcoin, I drew this earlier on it. So it has been trending down in this pattern. Now it broke out of what it was prior trending in. Let's just go to the 1 hour. There we go. We can see it so much more clear. So it had been trading like this. And then I did a video when it broke out, it retouched on this and went up to this higher level. But do notice with this, see, I've got a top drawn here and a top drawn here and also one here. But this isn't necessarily, it's a lower high than this and this. So it's something to be concerned about, that it may still be on a bigger downtrend and might come down further before then breaking out. So I'm watching Celsius too, personally, hoping that it comes down farther here. And then when I see Bitcoin breaking out, you know, my strategy is to then roll some of my Bitcoin into Celsius to try to catch that bigger upside. Does that make sense? All right, so that's just what's been on my mind as I was thinking today. You're kind of going through this euphoria letdown where you have all these juices going through you, and especially if you've been invested in Cardano and watching it go crazy, or some of your other tokens you've been completely ecstatic about, and it's great, and you get that dopamine hit every day. And then when you're not getting that, you're like, oh, you feel a little bit of letdown. I don't know if you felt that, but I have the last day or two. And maybe it's just I've been overworked because I've been doing like 16 hours a day between everything. I don't know, but I woke up this morning lethargic without all the energy, and I was like, man. Whew. And this is what it feels like when the good opportunities come out. When everything's going up like crazy, it's hopefully you already have a lot of your positions in place. And when you're putting good positions in place, you almost have some breathing room. A lot of things have retraced, and then you're looking for your very best buys that'll hopefully do the best during the timeline you're looking at. So I want to share with you what's on my mind and what I'm thinking about. I hope it's helpful to all of you. Like I said before, I'm not always right. I'm just often right, and this is just one person's opinion. And so I hope it's of value. I have lots of experience in real estate investing. I know that backwards and forward, but only 4 years crypto investing. And so, by all means, like, look around and get a feel from all the different channels and all the different things that you can to learn as much as you can, and just factor my thoughts in is just a small piece of your overall decision. And just like, you might totally disagree with me, which is totally okay. I got so much hate from a video that I did on a project that I actually like the project, I just don't love their tokenomics, and I completely offended some people. But I did promise you I would always shoot it straight with my feelings. I don't even hate the project, just their tokenomics are wrong for my investment dollar. However, I do think they're one of the projects most likely to be around in 20 to 40 years. But because I don't like their tokenomics, I'm not going to be investing into till maybe the crypto winter, and maybe not even then. And so I'll continue to shoot it straight with you, even if you hate what my opinion is, which will happen sometimes. With that said, I wanted to thank all of you for the channel growth. I did a little video the other day talking about it. I want to thank each of you for your support. In just a little over 4 weeks, we have grown from just above 300 subscribers to almost 6,000 subscribers. And that's thanks to each of you. Now, I started this channel because as a crypto investor myself for just 4 years, and before that I'd been a real estate investor for 20 years, and some of those principles cross over. But I found that I like to get the information from the different teams that isn't private, in other words, stuff they can't discuss, but it's not really hit the public awareness yet. And I found I was just getting really slow responses as an investor myself, and I realized that if I really want to be able to access that information, I need to be able to add value to subscribers through YouTube, that they would want to join my channel and subscribe and help me get enough people together so that those team members would possibly come on, but for sure they would speak to me on a regular basis, and we could get that non-private but yet not fully public information, so that myself and those who subscribe to the channel can get the very best information out there so that we can make better decisions, especially in 2021 as there's so much competing for our attention. Don't we really all want to know what are the best choices to be making now, and what information is out there to help us make those better choices. So I want to thank each of you for joining me on this journey, and we will see you soon. Before I go, I want to bring up one more thing. Now, scammers are all over the crypto space, and one of the things they do is they impersonate the YouTuber. And how you can tell is there's a black circle around the YouTuber if he's actually replying to you. And I try to respond to all of you when I get a minute, and sometimes I don't have enough time to go through all of the responses, but I try to do that, and just so that we can engage in dialogue. Now, if you don't see the black circle around it, it is not me in as a scammer. If you see a WhatsApp number or something like that, it's a scammer. If they're trying to give you contact information there, it's almost always a scammer. And so they hit you up with that. Also, my understanding is that the ads hit you with all kinds of things, wanting you to deposit 0.1 Bitcoin to get some returns. Don't do that. There's so many scams in crypto, and that's only going to get worse. And we have zero control as YouTubers over the ads that are placed on our channel as far as which ads are run. So we can't say, no, I don't want those ads to run. It's just they just put whatever ones on there that they want. And YouTube, for whatever reason, they hold us under a lot of, I guess, under a microscope, but they don't hold their advertisers under a microscope at all. So I wish that was different. It just is what it is, but you're not going to be able to deposit 0.1 Bitcoin and get like 10 Bitcoin out of it or whatever. Most of everything related to that is a scam that will get worse. For those of you who watch my channel a lot, if you see somebody copying my picture and replying, but you know it's not me because you've been around for a long time. Some people are new and they don't realize that it's not me. If you see one of those comments before I do, because sometimes I then have to go to meetings all day and I come back, and so I haven't seen any of that. I delete them whenever I see them. If you see those, would you go ahead and just write down below it, hey, don't reply to this one, this is a scammer or something, just so the new people that are new to crypto don't think that they don't fall prey to that, because I have to think that these scammers get some money from some people. Otherwise, they would stop doing it. So I'd hate for any of you to fall into that. When you're new to crypto, it seems like, oh, wow, yeah, I'll call, what's this WhatsApp? Maybe this is the thing people do on crypto. No, we don't use WhatsApp to call people, because that's most likely scammers, and they want to set it up on something where they can't be tracked. All right. With that, we will see you next time.